Hi, I'm Paul with Escaping the Film, and today we're going to be talking about the independent romantic drama Olympic Dreams. Set at the Olympic Village in the 2018 Olympic Winter Games, the film follows Penelope, played by Alexi Pappas, who is a cross-country skier, and she bonds and interacts with a volunteer dentist named Ezra, played by Nick Kroll. Now, a lot of people know Nick Kroll from, well, The Kroll Show and The League, where he usually plays very acerbic, sarcastic characters, very biting people, very borderline unlikable, but very funny. He kind of plays the opposite of that in this film. Here he plays a very charming, very grounded guy who he's literally at the Olympic Games as a volunteer just because he loves the Olympic Games. And to be quite honest, I'm obviously a huge Olympic Games nerd. So I kind of get where Ezra comes from in terms of, he just drops everything and decides, I'm going to go be a volunteer dentist for the athletes at the Winter Games. Now, when you sum up the film as, hey, a guy meets a girl at the Olympic Winter Games, it's a cute movie, that doesn't do the movie justice, because there's a lot to this movie. Just below the cute, charming veneer of a guy and girl meet, there's a kind of angsty, existential unease with both the characters. And then you add to the fact that this movie isn't just merely set at the Olympic Games. This movie was filmed at the Olympic Games. So like any kind of genre movie, romance, kind of like action or horror, romance isn't just about a man and a woman falling in love. What elevates Olympic Dreams above the usual meet-cute kind of rom-com is the fact that these characters genuinely bond because they're kind of in the same place in their life. Even though they're very different in age and very different in background, they both kind of get each other on a very fundamental level because they have goals, but they're not really sure of where their life is going to take them. Penelope, as played by Alexi Pappas, has a lot of legitimacy because Alexi Pappas is a real-life Olympian. While a lot of movies that are about the Olympics or athletics kind of in general, they're about how well they do in their event. At the very beginning of the movie, Penelope's finished. She's done with her Olympic experience as an athlete, as a competing athlete. But that's not the end of her journey because she has what I guess is called a kind of an Olympic hangover. These are people whose whole life has been focused on one event every 4 years. So when you spend countless hours prepping for one major event and you get there, now what? This is exactly the situation that Penelope finds herself in. The film makes it very clear that it's not as easy as, oh, well, I'll just compete again. Well, 4 years is a long time. 4 years is a huge commitment for any one thing. Penelope, as played by a real-life Olympian, has prioritized, her training above everything else in her life. And her success, her status as an Olympian, comes at the cost of so many things that she feels like she's missed out on. Being an Olympian is a very exaggerated form of the dream. It's literally following something you love and you're passionate about to some end. It's what I think a lot of us aspire to. And then you have a character like Ezra, who is a dentist, and he's just at a dentist office where he doesn't really like it. But even he has career goals about what he wants. He's happy being a dentist, but he's not fulfilled in his current life. He has goals and he has things that he would like to do. The commonality between Ezra and Penelope, even though one's an Olympian, the other one is, a dentist, a normal person like pretty much everyone else on the planet, is that even though they come from very different backgrounds, they don't know what the next step is. They're kind of as scared as everyone else is, and the uncertainty of knowing what is next. Now, the fact that this movie was filmed at the Olympic Games, that cannot be overstated because that is a huge accomplishment. There are whole scenes in this film that take place during real Olympic events. What this does is it gives you a real good scale. It adds to the authenticity and legitimacy of the movie. It's not literally just characters CGI'd into an event. You can see them at the event, a global spectacle. And here's this movie that was just kind of set in there. Now, the interesting thing is despite the scale of the Olympics, the movie does feel intimate at all times. It really is focused on Penelope and Ezra. Yes, they're surrounded by world-class athletes on the biggest stage in the world, but it is still very focused and fundamentally about those two characters. And being set at the Olympic Games also imparts kind of a little bit of the love that Ezra has for the Olympic Games. I think a lot of people have at least watched a little bit of the Olympics at some point. While a lot of us have an idea of what we think the Olympics should be or could be, this movie actually gives us a look behind the curtain. We actually get to see how the Olympians kind of go about their daily business as they prepare and train, as they get mentally ready for their events. As people at home watching the Olympic Games, we kind of fixate on who finishes first, second, and third. If they don't get a medal, they're kind of off to the side. This movie really shows that the Olympic experience for 99% of the athletes is really just to get there. To be at the Olympics is their Olympic medal. That's pretty much as good as it's going to get. And for Penelope, she goes there and she competes, and then she has a wrestle with all this confusion and uncertainty. And that is a part of the Olympic experience for the Olympians that hasn't really been explored in many movies. So you have this film that has this rich undercurrent of the audacity of filming at the Olympics and this rich existential drama. But again, the synopsis is boy meets girl. And to that end, it's a very charming and lovely little movie. The film actually has a lot of elements of Lost in Translation and Before Sunrise, two beloved movies that have very specific tones to them. For as big as the Olympics are, Penelope and Ezra are very much alone in their Olympic experiences. They have their own little bubble, and they kind of exist by themselves. They don't speak the language. They don't have many, if any, friends there. And they're just trying to make a connection, and that's really what brings them together. You get to see them wanting to connect and bond with these people, and they found each other. So as these two characters kind of give us a little tour behind the scenes at the Olympic Games, Olympic Dreams actually shares a little bit of DNA with something like Before Sunrise, in as much as you really do feel like you're along for a date with Penelope and Ezra as they kind of wander around the Olympic venues, around the Olympic Village. As they take in the sights and sounds of Korea, we also get to know them. We also get a feel of these two really do click. So my final score for Olympic Dreams is 4 out of 5. This is a very solid romantic drama. It has a lot of impressive elements. It gets degree of difficulty points just for being able to film a movie in the chaos of the Olympic Games. And while it's a very endearing little romance, it actually is a lot to say about uncertainty and what comes next. This movie is playing in select cities across the country, and it's also available on VOD. If this movie review is something you're into, please drop a like. This is a newer channel, so each like really helps right now. And if you like film reviews of all different types of films, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. You can read all my full-length movie reviews at escapeinthefilm.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at escapeinthefilm. Thank you very much for watching, and talk to you soon. Bye.